Today we are going to talk about my accident. I've often spoken about it, but I never really made a whole video about the story and what happened exactly. So today is the day. So the accident, it was a 40-foot fall, and it happened 7 years ago in 2018. I was 19 years old at that time, and it was in France, in Paris. That's where I was living at that time. So I get the question all the time of, did you jump? And well, to be honest with you, I think it's likely yes. I mean, I said I don't remember, so I am not going to say, oh yeah, definitely it was that. But I think knowing the situation back then, yeah, I likely did jump. Also the way I fell on my feet, that's usually when you fell straight, you know? And why? I don't mind speaking about it. Honestly, it's behind me and I am at peace with that period of my life. But I was really struggling hard when I was a teenager because of life circumstances that I will not speak of because it involves past friends and family, and I just don't want to go into details. But let's just say that it was a very difficult period of my life, and I had to see a therapist and also a psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist gave me a lot of medications, which I do think it was a mistake, to be honest with you. And some of those medications just did not really help, but they were okay. But some of those actually had very bad side effects. And one in particular, one that I started shortly before my accident, there are many studies that show that that medication very often can, give suicidal thoughts, and very violent ones, to children and teenagers in particular. And I started that medication, and shortly after, all my problems, thoughts, ideas became much darker, and everything went crazy after that. So yeah, I mean, we mostly think that that medication is what caused my accident, in the sense that sure, I had problems before that, but it never went that bad. And before I started that medication, such thoughts never went through my mind. After I started that medication, things just escalated a lot. So, 1 plus 1 equal 2. There's no way to say, oh yeah, it's definitely that. But we strongly think it's very correlated. But anyway, I don't think there's no point in really trying too hard to think about it. I do think it's important to speak, especially for other people that may be in a similar situation. But what I mean is that I'm not looking for any sort of, I'm at peace with it. Let's just put it like that. And coming back to the accident, it happened during the night. And I fell 40 feet in my courtyard. It was a stone courtyard. I fell on my feet, which, I mean, thankfully I fell on my feet, because if it was my head or another spot, it would have probably been much worse, if not deadly. And when I fell on my feet, I broke my ankles. I broke 2 vertebrae, lumbar vertebrae. I broke 1 vertebra in my neck. I broke my sternum. I broke my left wrist. I had collapsed lungs and some problems in the arteries in the neck. Overall, yeah, it was pretty bad. I mean, it could have been worse, but yes, it was pretty bad. Thankfully, the ambulance, the doctors and the ambulance, firefighters as well, arrived very quickly, and that definitely saved my life, because they were there in a matter of minutes. It took them a while to move me from the ground to the stretchers and then the ambulance, because when there's a broken spine, they're very careful about movements to try to not make it worse. And from there, when they finally managed to put me in the ambulance to go to the hospital, they had to sedate me a lot. I don't remember anything of this. Again, I mean, my mother was there, so she knows, but I was conscious. I mean, conscious, like I was very weak, but I was awake a little bit. I was able to mumble and speak, but I think that it was such a traumatic event that my brain deleted all those memories, or maybe it was so busy trying to survive that it didn't try to record what was happening. I don't know, but it's just pitch black in my memories. It does not exist. But anyway, they brought me to the hospital, and shortly after arriving to the hospital, they did a scan, found all the injuries, and then I went straight to surgery, stayed in surgery for a day when they took care of my spine, my ankles, and my wrist. And then I went to the ICU, and I was asleep, I mean in a coma for a little bit, because they did try to wake me up in the days just after the surgery, but it was apparently too painful and unbearable, so they decided to sedate me again for a while. And then I don't remember how many days after, I woke up in the ICU, and they told me what happened. And honestly, that was a pretty shocking moment, because I had no idea. My last memory was watching the football world, soccer or football, however you call it, the World Cup on TV, and then I woke up in the hospital, and I was like, oh my god, what did I do? What's going on? And I would have never imagined that I had done something so severe. And when they told me, I couldn't believe it. I was like, are you kidding me? That must be a joke. And then, I mean, no, it was not a joke. And I mean, didn't have any sort of mental breakdown or sadness on the moment. I don't know, we all cope in different ways. I just remember that the doctor was like, oh, so I'm sorry you have those injuries, and seeing what we saw during the surgery, I have to be honest with you, you need to try, but you will never walk again, because it was very bad. And I told the doctor, okay, but can I ride horses? I think the morphine was going strong on me at that time, and the doctor was speechless. He just looked at me and like, what? And I said again, can I ride horses? And he told me, maybe, but before trying to break your bones again, let them heal. It was funny. Yeah, so that is my first memories after waking up from the accident. I think that's all about my accident, but I really wanted to make a full video about it, because I often danced around the topic, but never went in depth. And I think it was a good thing to do, especially because, I mean, even though I don't remember it, and even though the medications probably played a significant role, I still consider it sort of a suicide attempt in a way, And that's something that's difficult to talk about it, because I mean, I still feel a lot of shame connected to that, even though I know one shouldn't. It's still something that is heavy on the mind and the consciousness. And for a long time, I sort of tried to avoid the questions, or when I would get comments about it, I would sort of just go around. But now I realize it's just better to openly talk about it, because it is a big problem nowadays in the world. No matter what causes it, it is a big problem, and just talking about it is better for anyone that went through it and anyone that's going through it or that will go through it in the future. I think that's all for today. I've been talking for a little while already, but before I go, if you have any questions about the accident, or I mean my experience with life, medications, or anything else, just ask. I'm an open book. I don't mind talking, helping, sharing my experience. So really, to anyone that needs to talk or that wants to ask me anything, just go ahead. See you.